What's new, crew? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Cassandra, and today we are tackling one project, which is getting some of this garlic in the ground. My neighbor is thinning her patch. She's moving some things around on her property, and she had some garlic for me, so she brought this over. There is more to come. She says as she pulls them up and starts thinning more things, she's gonna bring them over. So I found a spot in the permaculture orchard and got those in. And then I just wanted to walk around and do a little bit of a garden walk or a little bit of a garden tour, a little different than we've done in the past 3 weeks. But these are the potatoes that are in the orchard. They are looking awesome. We are starting to get raspberries on some of the raspberry canes that we put in earlier this year. We knew that there was a possibility that we would get raspberries this year, but we weren't really sure. So that's super exciting. And then the other thing that we had to start doing was plucking apples off of some of our king apple trees. We do not want these trees producing this first year. So you see me checking some of these trees, picking off apples, because we want all of the energy this year to go into the roots of these trees, and we don't want these tiny trees growing massive king apples. They can get up to 2 to 3 pounds a piece. We don't want them snapping these very small trees, so we're plucking those off as well as we walk through today. I'm happy to report that a lot of my marigolds are finally starting to come in. I have sort of banned the baby from coming in here, and that's been a lot more successful in my flowers. I came through and fluffed all of the rows a couple days ago, and then the original plan was for this weekend to go to the feed mill and get more straw, to put a fresh layer of straw down the walk pass, but we're probably in all reality not going to do that. Today's my birthday. Tomorrow we have tickets to go to a comedy show, and then my husband's birthday is also in the next day or two. So we're going through here, and this stuff is probably just going to wait, and we're just going to probably put it off. Next weekend's Father's Day, so this will happen eventually, but I'm not going to rush it. If weeds are in the rows, it doesn't really bother me that much. It doesn't look beautiful, but as long as by the plants and things, everything's mostly picked and the soil's fluffed, I'm not super worried about it. And that's kind of where we're sitting right now, so I'm happy with that. One of the kids actually left the gate open yesterday, and every single chicken was in here. We had to chase them all out. So I haven't had time since yesterday to kind of like assess the damage and kind of fix whatever was happened. So I'm actually gonna take some time to walk through right now and figure out if the chickens got anything, if they ate anything. It's usually my brassicas. I can kind of see here, it looks like my cabbages took a big hit. So I'm just gonna kind of assess the damage and see if anything is totally done for. I'm hoping not. I don't know how long they were in the garden before we were able to get them out, so we'll see. But I just kind of want to do a little bit of a walkthrough. Baby's napping, all the other kids are in the yard running around here, so I just kind of want to do a little bit of an afternoon garden walk, see how things are doing. I don't plan on really doing anything in here right now, but just kind of walking through and seeing where things are at. Right off the top, I'm seeing more and more flowers coming in on my tomatoes. I'm very excited about that. There's nothing like the smell of a tomato plant, so every time I touch them I like to smell my hands because it just smells like summer to me. But I'm seeing more and more tomato plants. I'm pretty sure these couple here are my early girls, so these ones should in theory be the ones that produce tomatoes first. We still have some of these. My youngest, my 1-year-old, was ripping these out of the ground, so these are kind of spewed everywhere. They don't really mean anything because she was carrying them all through the garden while we were planting and kind of keeping herself occupied with these, which is fine. So as I find these, I'm going to pick them up and take care of these so they're not just laying in the garden. But more and more flowers here, which makes me really happy. They're also really shooting up in height. Now let me know, do you guys pinch off your suckers? Do you guys pinch these low-hanging branches off? Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but I'm seeing a couple flowers coming in here, which is also, I'm super excited about these. The stems look nice and thick, all things I really like to see in my tomato plants. We also started to put trellising up. We did this last weekend, right after I filmed my garden tour for last week. We did this. We only got up 2 panels. I need to go and get more T-posts. I have T-posts. We kind of keep them in stock here, but the only ones I currently have are 8-foot T-posts, and I don't want to put in 8-foot T-posts because we're gonna have to pound them probably 2 feet into the ground, and then we're gonna need a tractor to pull them out of the garden at the end of the season because we till in every year. We do a till in garden. We don't have a tractor. We borrow my brother-in-law's, so I don't want to have to use a tractor to rip out T-posts, and neither is my husband. So I have to go get some more T-posts. So we just used what we had laying around, and so far so good. That's what I love most about this lifestyle, is using what you have first always, and then going out and purchasing or sourcing other things to fill in the gaps. So are they perfect? No. Are they gonna work? Absolutely. So that's what I like most about this stuff. So we got 2 tomato trellises up right now. We have one here and one on the second row of tomatoes. I still have 2 more cattle panels, but like I said, we just need a couple more T-posts. But this is something I'm super excited about, to be able to see my tomatoes growing up on the trellis. This is something I've been so wanting over the last couple of years. So I have some tomato twine, so as these get a little bit bigger, I will start kind of guiding these and tying them to the trellises to keep them up. And then you can see how much better these marigolds are looking now that Cleo can't attack them. She just loves to pick flowers. What 1-year-old girl doesn't like to pick flowers? So you can't blame her for that, because they are beautiful. But very excited about these. These are where my cabbages are, and I can tell it looks like my purple cabbages weren't hit from the chickens, which is good. And it looks like these are Napa cabbages. I'm pretty sure I put them in the ground. We started these together. We put them in the ground and I thought they died, which is why I went to the greenhouse and got some cabbages. I have one here and I have one here, but I've never grown Napa cabbages before, so I could be very wrong, but I can see it looks like they're starting to go to seed here. I don't know if they're bolting, which very well could be. We had a crazy heat snap over the last couple of days. We went from having a week where it was, I mean, it was like just 55, 60 degrees, and at night it was getting to the point where I was worried I was going to lose some of my things to frost, or not frost, but peppers and things don't really like to be below 55 degrees, and I was worried he was going to stunt them, rather. But everything looks okay, so I think I'm going to leave these a little bit longer, and you guys let me know, are these the Napa cabbages or should I pull them? What's your opinion on these? But here is some damage from the chickens here. That's okay, it'll grow back and it'll be fine, but it's actually not looking quite as bad as I thought it was going to. Looks like on the other hand, things like this where you see little holes in here, these are from cabbage moths. So this is when you'd want to look under your plants here, and you're gonna look for eggs or little green caterpillars. That's what's eating these. They go after brassicas, so your broccolis and your cabbages get hit really hard, and I can already see some evidence of that happening this year, and that never really bothers me. I've never had a year where cabbage moths have completely like decimated my broccolis or my cabbages or anything, so we'll see what happens. This is also the most I've ever grown, so who knows, with having higher quantity might become more of an issue because it's more of a buffet here. So we're gonna see how that goes, so maybe we'll see. Also, what I'm thinking, let me know, do you guys have opinions on growing all of your brassicas clumped like this like I do? I have my broccolis here, my cabbages, and my cauliflower. Do you think I would have less issues if I spread them further apart, so that way if the broccolis get hit really hard, at least my other brassicas are okay? Or vice versa? I would love your opinions on that if you have more experience than I. Do you plant them like this, kind of clustered, or do you plant them further apart so that it helps prevent kind of like a decimation of all of your brassicas? But a lot of these are looking good, and they're getting to the point here where I think we're gonna start getting heads coming up on these, which is also really exciting. It's one of my favorite parts of growing, is just watching it kind of come up. So these are looking great. This is our second tomato trellis, looking great, and we will get the other trellises up. But I'm just kind of looking here. We have lots and lots of flowers coming in on tomatoes. So when you see things like this can be one of two things. This can be bug damage, or this can actually be scalding from the sun. If your plants are wet and then it gets really hot, it can actually burn, kind of sunburn your crops. And it's one of the two that's happening here. These are our zucchini. I have 3 here and I'm looking at them. They all look identical, and it looks like they're the only ones that look like this. So I'm going to guess it's probably some sort of bug. I'm looking, I don't see any eggs or anything on these, which is good. But you can see I've got teeny tiny little flowers starting to come in, which means we're gonna start growing zucchini soon, which is also very exciting. This time of the year, it can kind of feel like the calm before the storm, because you're picking weeds, you're fluffing soil, you're doing whatever you do, but it's kind of lull. You have those moments where it's like, okay, there's not really a whole lot going on in the garden, which for me, some people are gonna look at my garden and say, girl, take care of those weeds. And I'm gonna say, nope, it's perfect the way it is right now. Like I said, my soil is fluffed. If around the plants is clear, that's good enough for me personally. Is it beautiful? Absolutely not. I don't like seeing all these weeds either, but the practicality of this, of life, is I have 4 very small children, and they get out here and they pick and we take care of it. It's a good learning experience for them, but I don't want this to be absolutely everything that I do. I want to make time to go do other things, to hang out, to watch movies, to play chess, to do all of those things. And right now in my season of life, that means there's more weeds in the garden, and I'm okay with that. All of my lettuce is looking really good. I think I'm gonna come out and harvest some of this weekend. I like to leave it just to make sure that it's good and it's big and it's healthy before I start taking off of it. But some of this green lettuce here is looking fantastic. It's looking big and beautiful. I've grown this variety before. I really like it. It does well here. The reason I wanted to do some green and some purple is I've heard that purple lettuce and things don't bolt as fast as the green ones. So we're gonna see what happens. Originally, I wanted to plant these behind a tomato trellis because as the sun comes up and over this tomato trellis and the tomatoes grow up, it's gonna cast shade on the lettuce here. So this was strategic, if I can say that. It's to help eventually give this some shade because I don't have shade anywhere in my yard, nothing to shade it. So this was to make sure that it gets some sort of shade to help it from bolting, give it a little bit of a break from the sun, because otherwise we get sun everywhere on the property here, basically from the time the sun comes up to the sun goes down. So if I can give this a couple hours of shade in the afternoon, I'm hoping that this will be best, because during the hottest part of the day it should be shaded. So that's why I did it this way. But these are all looking really great. My purple ones are looking a little bit smaller. I have these 2 are looking really great, but everything else looks a little tiny. So when I come out to harvest, I'll probably grab off of these, and we're gonna make a really big salad. I have probably my last little bit of spinach coming out of the raised beds this week, and then I'm gonna pull it because that 100% is bolting, and I'll replant. So this is great. I'm really happy that just as my spinach is ending and I'm going to be putting a second planting in, that my lettuce is good, so I'll still have fresh greens. Some of you guys in my last video were commenting on all my green beans, talking about how awesome it was to have such a big row of green beans, and thank you. I love my big row of green beans too, but these are just getting to the point where they're starting to think about putting on flowers. So hopefully in the next 2 to 2.5 weeks, we'll be picking green beans through here and start getting some harvesting off of these and harvesting videos happening, and I'm so excited about those. These garden tours will be more tour and harvest, so I'm so excited about that. But these are our trilogy bean and our regular green bean. I'm seeing this for the first time. These are some pumpkins. We're starting to get some flowers on these. How amazing do those look? There's a lot of flowers on here too. So exciting. But this whole row is nothing but squash. And like I said, we have some pumpkin here, but the rest of this is all different varieties of squash, and we have some onions all the way to the end there. Other than that, things are looking pretty much the same. The only thing that looks really sad is this row here, and that is my watermelons. They're still here. I've never had a lot of luck with watermelons. We've talked about that in the past, and so far this year it's looking to be about the same. But on the end here we have some muskmelon, and those are probably triple the size of the watermelons, so maybe we'll get some muskmelon this year. We're gonna see what happens. I'm hopeful and enthusiastic, but these ones are looking much better than the melons down there. But remember, we did plant melons over in the permaculture orchard. Those are just kind of starting, so maybe they'll do better over there, and that'll be where we plant melons from now on. Our hot peppers here look pretty much the same. Nothing super crazy happening. I do see this weed here. I'm gonna pick this for us quick. But other than that, there doesn't seem to be like a whole lot of noticeable change from last week. But our dill is really starting to come up. Dill is starting to get some flowering heads on them, which is perfect. I'm thinking about doing some pickled asparagus this year, and we'll see kind of how that goes. So we will have dill in the garden this year, and I won't have to buy it from the farmer's stand like I have every other year. Usually buying dill isn't that big of a deal for me. Every other year, except last year, I have gotten massive sprigs of dill. I'm talking like 3-4 feet high sprigs of dill for $2 from the farmer's stand. So I've never needed to grow it because it's super cheap. However, last year the price went up and it's $5 or $6 for the same size sprigs. So we're growing it this year. I'm very excited about that. Whatever I have left over after doing pickles and whatnot and doing pickle relish, I will just freeze, or maybe I'll dehydrate. Most likely I'll probably freeze it. And we like to do dill in a lot of our fish dishes, like our salmon dishes and things like that. So it'll be used. It's looking like the chickens actually didn't do too much damage in here, which is really great. So I'm hoping that means I caught them very early on after they got into the garden here, which is great. Same with our raised beds, guys. We've been kind of picking weeds kind of here and there. Could it be a little less weeded? Absolutely. But our carrots are looking fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I don't think I've ever grown carrots that look this good before, so I'm unbelievably excited about that. This is a huge goal of mine. So we have a couple different variety of carrot in here. This right here is actually some rutabaga that's growing. It looks like out of all the rutabagas I planted, I only had like a couple seeds take, which is okay. I'm just gonna take what I can get. 1 or 2 big rutabagas will be perfect for a pasty for me, and I'll be happy with that as well. And you guys can see we've got lots of peas on here. We've actually been harvesting a couple at a time and kind of snacking on them. So this is really exciting to see when things start to be able to come out. So we are going to be doing snap peas for dinner sides here very quickly, making some stir fries with these and our green beans. So unbelievably excited about these, and these are fantastic. A new issue we're having this year is with chipmunks. They are everywhere. They're in the raised beds, they're in the garden, they're in the orchard. It's really bad. So if you have any kind of tips and tricks on how to get rid of chipmunks, let us know, because they are crazy bad. We've never had so many issues with chipmunks, and I'd like to kind of hopefully take care of it before things really start coming up in the garden. I don't want to have to lose all my tomatoes to chipmunks. I don't want to fight with them this year. So if you have recommendations, please let me know. But we have more snap peas that are just finally starting to come up over here as well. Another row of carrots, which is looking great. Always a couple weeds in here we got to pull out. Always a couple. And this is where it comes back to, as long as it's clear of weeds, or pretty much clear of weeds where my actual food is growing, I'm pretty happy with that. These little things in here don't bother me too much. It doesn't look beautiful, but it really doesn't affect the growing a whole heck of a lot. These are the rest of our potatoes, and how awesome are these, you guys? This is a huge goal of mine as well, to grow more root vegetables, kind of like with our carrots. Some potatoes. So we have 3 different varieties of potatoes growing this year, and this is just where some of them are. The rest of them are over in the orchard, but so excited to see this. And then you can see how bad my spinach is bolting. Bolting is just kind of when it goes to flower, it gets hot. So I'm gonna come out here. I'm actually gonna go get a basket, and I'm gonna harvest whatever I can off of these, and then I'm just gonna pull the plants, give the actual plants to the chickens, and we'll kind of finish off the rest of the spinach here. I might throw it in the freezer because I have a gallon in my fridge right now, and then we'll be able to enjoy it later on in the year in different pasta dishes. Or we really like to do spinach with our venison. It goes really, really well. So we eat a lot of this in the fall and a lot of it in the winter. But I actually have a daughter who prefers spinach over lettuce. So this is what she likes to do in her sandwiches, or when we do side salads with dinner. So really awesome. I'm happy I grew this year, and then I can get this cleared out and a second round of spinach going if I have enough seeds. If not, I might pick up some seeds from a store or something. But awesome. Really happy about the spinach that I'm growing this year.
All around this empty town, I'm searching for the lost and found, but you don't care, you're unaware.